So will this fledgling patch now be the end of Mortal Online as we know it? Will it be the Tremel patch of Ultima Online? No, it will be not. Hello everyone and welcome to the Wolfszeit channel. Today with a very special topic, always special. The fledgling system. Because Henrik also dropped some infos about the noob protection in the game. That the new players can get a hold in the door before most of them quit. I don't know which generation you are from, but it seems that the market needs to shift a little bit more to casual things. For the younger generation that it works, I guess. I don't know. So I just hope that Star Wars will stay true to their hardcore vision of the game. But people requested this over. Fasten your seatbelts. Since the first beta in 2009 from the first game, people requested a noob-friendly game. And of course, a lot of people said, no, please don't make it noob-friendly because we like it how it is. But before we speculate any further, let's hear Henrik's statement to that.
We have a fledgling flag system coming in as well, which means as a new player, you will have a fledgling status, which, make it clear for everyone that this is a new player. We should help new players to get into the game before we can, get into more action with or against other players, right? We all want the player population to grow. So this is simply a flag that is tied with X amount of hours in game time for the account. And that means a more severe penalty when killing or if killing a fledgling. So you may want to avoid that. There's nothing to benefit from. You will just get more penalty pretty much in terms of XP and standings and such. We want to help new players to get into the game, right? I think majority agree with that until we can have some more fun, engaging fights with or against those players. Yeah, it is tied to the account, Patwins. So if you make a new character directly, it shares the in-game fledgling time. And if we remake it, it still have that account time. So yeah. Obviously don't know your player base. I know the player base extremely well, Abba. More than you will think. I've been here for 20 years, so I think I know it a little bit better than most. I know exactly why we need the fledgling flag. I also know that the majority absolutely want more players, even to kill more players, right? And the irony is, some people may think, well, everyone is PvPer and they just want to kill players. That's far from the truth. The majority is not PvP murderers in our game, actually. There are sandbox players. We have combat players focused. We have PvP focused players, absolutely. But they are not the majority in the game. We need to do what we need to do to introduce new players in a good way. Give them a fair chance before, it's still a very harsh game world with very few limitations on what you can do.
So yeah, before I drop my opinion, you can also drop your opinion in the comments and also participate in the voting. So just my personal opinion. Yours can of course differ. I think that a noob protection system itself is not a bad idea. The problem is I know the fledgling system from the first game, and in the first game it was implemented a little bit like shit in my opinion. So at first you made your first character, then you have the yellow flag, and it was for 48 in-game hours, I guess. You were invulnerable, so no one could kill you. But you could also not carry more than 10 gold or something like that. Or any stuff that is worth more than 10 gold. And then they adjusted that system, that you have a 2 weeks span, but people were able to kill you. Then they changed that again when Haven came out, so that you have no noob protection when you came out of Haven. And now for Mortal Online 2, it seems that Henrik made the right choice, I guess, that maybe a harder punishment results in less noob killing, but I don't really believe in this. Because a lot of people just like to kill noobs just because they like to kill noobs. And on the other hand, I can totally understand everyone who's saying this is an open world PvP full loot game. And it's also labeled hardcore, so maybe a new protection system is okay in some way. Henrik mentioned that this will only be in a time period, so I guess it will be maybe the first 100 hours or 50 hours, and this would be totally okay in my opinion. I don't know what your opinion about this is. The only thing is, how hard will the punishment be? And this is the mystery. I mean, the range could be from 1 to, I don't know, 10 times more. So this is a little bit concerning because Star Vault often trying to implement stuff and don't exactly know where to balance stuff. But the good news here is that the new deployment system that Star Vault has, more or less, involves the community. So you are also involved. So before this is going to be final, or in any form final, or even in the thinking phase, I don't know, you can also influence that just by talking about the topic with other players, for example, and also posting about that and talking about that. Because then also maybe the Star Wars staff getting new ideas, and maybe that will result in a better solution than the idea they first have, for example. And then everyone is happy because Star Wars is having a better solution. We are having all more players and we are having all more fun in the game. I mean, that would be a perfect world. Sadly, that doesn't work in the real world. And that is exactly the point where we are with the Fledgling system. I think it will reduce the noob killings. This is good. I personally think that the Fledgling system is a very good idea. But it must be executed very carefully, that you can't exploit that like in the first game. And yes, Star Wars, we also transported a keep deed in the first game with a Fledgling character. The first 2 weeks you implemented that feature. And this is exactly the thing I'm talking about all the time in nearly all of the videos and all the feature requests I'm talking about, and all the stuff Mortal Online 1 had. When you implement that into Mortal Online 2, you have to think about every damn way to exploit that feature, because player will find that way and will do that. And if they find that and you didn't know that this bug exploit existed, then you should have a dedicated programmer task force which are working on projects which can they make casually or stuff like this. And then when something like this comes in and players requesting for example for a hotfix there or a bug fix there, then this force can directly fix this fast before it can make more damage. This is also how a few other game studios are doing this. And I think this is a great idea. I mean, just imagine the community finding out a bug that is an exploit or broken and stuff, and you fix it in like 1 day or half a day or 2 days or something like that. And I know it's difficult. Some bugs you can't fix in 1 or 2 days. I can totally understand that, Star Wars. I can totally understand that. But I guess for some players, just the priority feels wrong. If you just maybe could show, or maybe having a live board with just the name of the bugs and stuff you're working on. For example, if you have a ticket system and stuff, you could give us an API that we can just read the ticket names or something, that the bug names that the community knows. Ah, you are already working on that. Nice, awesome that you're already working on that. So you're actually doing stuff there. The community sees you are doing stuff there, and everyone is happy. Because I think there are a lot of comments I've read in the past on this YouTube channel, and I totally get it that a lot of people don't get it, that programming is actually complicated. But in these comments, the people were talking about that Star Vault is not fixing this or not working on this, but you were actually working on this. You were actually working on this, and the patch came then 1 week or 2 weeks later. But yeah, I guess this player was then gone because he was thinking that Star Vault is not caring and not fixing the bugs, because he doesn't knew that you were working on that. But anyway, this is just too much off topic. I'm pretty sorry. Carmel, Professor O, Paladin Life, Lukario, Raphael, Rhonus, Paarthurnax, Cologne, Bulldog, Giovanni, Vargas, RealMadWurst, Cyriss, Map, Greta, you, and all the others, of course. And never forget to make party hard. Yeah, of course, party hard. See you all next time. Goodbye.